And I mean, even I would have to sit there and really research, what really went on. I mean, I've seen newspaper clippings. I've seen, interviews that they had. Of course, I can name the places like the funeral home. It's still standing here. The actual crash landing site or supposed crash landing site is probably, I don't know, about 40 miles maybe out of the city limits. It didn't happen inside of the town. It happened on the outskirts. So, I would still have to research. Now, there are some things that happen here, but I think that's kind of an all over the place type of thing. It doesn't just happen here in Wildwood. It's just that first landing that made the news, So, and I can't dispute nor agree with it. There's some things I know that are true, and then, there's some things that I just have a trouble believing and haven't seen the facts about it yet. But logically speaking, I would think that we cannot be so arrogant as to think that we're the only beings in this whole universe. That's my logic.
Okay, so you think there is
I think so.
Other. Okay, so that's what I wanted to start out the show with, because I want to talk about something. We want to talk a little bit about conspiracy theories tonight. We want to talk about alternate universes tonight, okay? So that's one of the things I want to bring up. There was an old show that I grew up watching, and I ended up binge watching the last season probably about a year ago, called Sliders. And they would go into different alternate universes. And so in another alternate, did we change the universe tonight with the things that we did? Is the world expanding? Is the world getting bigger? And are things happening in our past that's changing? So those are things that I'm trying to, we're trying to get to, trying to figure out, so, and I've been really thinking about it a lot, and it's pretty crazy on all the different situations that are coming up. So, it's one of the best conspiracies. I'm talking about alternate universes. I mean, places just like our own home, but with different situations where, okay, so you take, if you're in an alternate universe and everything is exactly the same, but instead of you being, I'm left-handed, correct? So, what if I was right-handed in the alternate universe?
Okay. And that would be because, why would it be a double universe, though? You get your explanation for why you remember things a certain way and it didn't really happen that way?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go into here. That's what the Mandela effect is basically.
Yes. But, and I can kind of see that. It doesn't really have a logical side to it, but it makes sense in the way that why we would, so many people will remember an event that happened a certain way, and then we find out, and there's all kinds of evidence pointing that it didn't happen that way at all. Yet that's, so many people's memory, so many people share the same memory of the event happening, and then there's proof that it didn't happen that way. So, yeah, that's one explanation, I guess.
Okay, so that takes us into, that takes us into our next conversation. So if the Mandela effect is true, shout out to Desiree Pickett, DeMarie Love, who did the conspiracy theory on the Mandela effect about 2 weeks ago on The Lounge. And if you didn't get a chance to check that out, go back to The Lounge. And she did the conspiracy theory about the Mandela effect. So that takes us back to this. So if we're living in alternate universes, basically, if there's other universes that are kind of like ours, okay, we're gonna get into the basic format of the JFK assassination, okay? So I'm gonna give you 3 different ways that it could have went down, and then we'll leave it there because this is a big conversation and there's a lot of information about it. And then we'll move on. That's why I started out with the alternate universe. What if, what if, I can't say what if because it's already happened. So if we go back to the JFK assassinations, okay, there's 3 different things that are going around, okay? Me personally, this is what I remember. I'll tell you, there's 3 different things, but I'll tell you what I remember first, okay? And I'll tell you why I remember it. And I remember a limo driver and a front passenger with JFK and his wife in the back seat with 2 security guards walking on each side of the car.
Right.
That's what I remember in the film footage. Okay.
Now, I remember it the same way.
Okay, so, but in the colored version of the film footage, it is 2 people in the front seat and the governor of Texas and his wife. I'm pretty sure he's the governor of Texas and his wife. I was going to play his interview here tonight, and his wife. And then in the backseat, you had Kennedy and his wife. And the third thing is that in that situation, there was no security guards walking on the side, but in the back of the limousine. Okay. So if anybody wants to comment about that when you get a chance, let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know. So about that situation, where are you at, Lisa?
Okay, I remember it like you said. What I remember, when I think about that, I remember Jackie and, the First Lady and President Kennedy sitting in the back, but like not in the back seat itself. They were sitting on the top of like a convertible.
Yeah.
They had the driver, and there was a passenger, and there was the security, one on each side of the car, walking. And that's how I remember it. Okay. I've been, as a matter of fact, I didn't have time to look for that picture. I know there's a picture in an old photo album that I have that maybe that's why I remember it that way, that shows that very scene. Yes. Not the second one you're talking about, but the first one.
Okay.
If it never happened, how was there a picture? And you said that the film that you saw showed something different, right?
Yeah, I basically saw 3 different versions of it, and it's in recorded, it's in archives, and you could do the research if you like, and go to YouTube, go to Google, go to all your search engines, Wikipedia, and you could see all the different. You could actually, it's not just a Mandela effect; it's all there. And one thing I do want to bring up is that in the Kennedy Museum, they have the car that happened in. And it's not a 6-seater car. It's a 4-seater car. So it's pretty strange how that all played out. But by the way, do you remember the color of the car?
I'm gonna say it was white, but I really have to look. In my mind, I picture a white car. However, I think the picture that I have is the black one.
Yeah. In the black and white photo, it looks like a black car. I think the black and white film, it looks like a black car. But in the colored film, I think it was red. I just saw it last night. I can't remember now, but I just saw it last night, and I saw some intriguing things that we'll get into later on about the show. But I did want to play. I will when we get into just the JFK assassination. I will play all the audio that I have from the interviews, the governor, the wife, the first lady, the interviews after the event. And if I find any interviews before that, I do have one interview from JFK. It's a 5-minute interview that I was going to play that tonight too. There's a 5-minute interview that JFK talks about secret societies. I don't like to say the other word because weird things happen, but I'll call it secret societies. But there's another word they use about secret societies, but I never use it because weird things have been known to happen. Trust me, it's crazy. And so I never speak that word out anymore. I gave that word a rest. But I know all the kids are running around saying that, and you have to get rich, or you have to be involved in that to be rich, and all kinds of stuff. And I don't believe in that crap, but it's kind of weird. So we'll talk more about that. Hey there, Mike. How you doing? Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. This is IKE with LIZA Trujillo. We're talking a little bit. We're doing a little promo tonight about conspiracy theories that are coming up. We have several podcasters that'll be doing conspiracy theories every week. We're just the promo. LIZA Trujillo and I are just the promo for right now. Yeah. But we will have our own conspiracy podcast coming up soon, so it's going to be pretty cool. As far as the, I'm not able to type that much right now, Mike, but as far as conspiracy theories that we got coming up, we have the JFK assassination, the Mandela effect, the Loch Ness Monster, which is one of my favorites, which I'm actually going to go to Scotland and investigate that. So that's some other stuff that we're talking about. So we have about 50 or 60 different 50 or 60 different conspiracy theories, and we're going to pick out the best 12 to 24 over the next year to play once or twice a month. And like I said, it'd be different things. But I really do appreciate you stopping by, Mike. It's awesome. So let's move on from the JFK. Yeah, Mike, you should inbox me and we should talk about that. That's what I was saying earlier in the podcast. I said anybody who has a conspiracy theory that would like to be a part of this, get in touch with us, and we'll get it on the air, right, Lisa?
Yes. One of us.
Yeah, we have a lot of podcasters, Mike. So inbox one of us, Lisa, or any of us, and we'll get back with you as soon as possible. And it'd be really interesting to hear about your conspiracy theory. So moving on from, well, let's kind of finish up with yeah, right on. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Finishing up with JFK. So there's a lot of stuff involved with the JFK. Like I said, we'll have the interviews. We'll have the vocal interviews. We'll have as much footage as we can to support it. I don't know how much we can get it over unless we go through the Skype system or whatever we were talking about. But as far as that goes, we'll do it like that. Also, I talked to Lisa about skinwalkers. She don't know. She's from New Mexico, but I told her it's a native thing for local natives, and the story comes from New Mexico. So